What is up, guys? This is Andrew with mywatchaddiction.com, and today, yes, we're taking a look at another Kickstarter watch. Today we're going to do a Kickstarter watch unboxing of the Aquacy 1769 series diver from Aquacy Watches. Now, if you guys have followed me before, you likely saw the prototype review of this watch that I did a few months back. It was right before their Kickstarter campaign launch, and that's of this blue Aquacy diver, which incidentally is the watch of the day, this blue Aquacy diver. Now, guys, since I've had this prototype in my collection, I get a lot of wear out of it. Now, if you guys follow us on Instagram /watchaddiction.us, you've likely seen it up there quite a few times, especially on Blue Watch Monday, because this is definitely one of my go-to watches from a comfort standpoint, especially in terms of the blue watches that I have in my collection. But guys, I'm really excited to actually be able to take a look at the production model of this watch, not just the prototype, with you guys on the channel. So we're going to do this unboxing. We're going to jump over to the Kickstarter campaign a little bit, take a look through that, see what they were going for on price, and then, you know, just kind of wrap it up and do a comparison real quick of the prototype versus the actual production model. Because from what I'm seeing, they may have fixed some of the things that they got feedback on in the prototype model in the actual production model. But guys, before I get started, do me a favor. Right down there in the right hand corner of the screen is that subscribe button. Go ahead and smash that, guys, so you can follow us in the future. Also, don't forget, if you ding that bell, you'll be able to be notified whenever I release a new video. And we've got a bunch of Kickstarter watches coming up, plus a bunch of new watches that I've got to add to my collection. Anyway, guys, let's tear into this Aquacy diver and see what it's all about. All right, guys, so let's tear into this Aquacy 1769 series. Now, incidentally, that 769 series does indicate that this is a limited edition, and they are only producing 1,769 variations of this Aquacy diver. So it's a pretty good size run of watches for a micro brand, but limited edition nonetheless. We've got some decent packing on here, and I feel a diver case coming. Open this guy up, and of course I opened it up upside down. Now, if you guys saw the prototype unboxing, very similar box. It's got the Aquacy logo right there embedded, not embedded, but almost like a bubbled up sticker on top. ABS plastic diver case, nice looking. Easy to open. Some of them are kind of a pain in the ass to open. Let's open this guy up, and I've got stuff everywhere. So let's see what all of this says. So right here, please leave us a review. Haha. Well, guess what, guys? I think this kind of counts for a review. So I'm definitely going to hit all of those different avenues for them. If I like this watch, like this production model of this watch, guys over at Aquacy, don't worry, I'll hit all those sites for you. And what's this say? It says, attention, do not change time by turning hands counterclockwise. Do not attempt to adjust the date when the hand is between 8 and 4 p.m. 8 p.m. and 4 a.m. Now this, guys, this is something that a lot of watch companies don't necessarily comment on. If you've got an automatic watch, it's just best practice not to change the date at that time or during those time frames, and it has to do with how the gears and everything are lining up with inside of the watch. Confession, I do it. Sometimes I try to not make it a habit, but I have done it in the past. And but for the good of your watch, don't do it. So we have just some packing. Interesting how this all came out. We have an Aquacy microfiber polishing cloth. We have the Aquacy warranty card, which shows the serial number of 27, the purchase date of February 16th, 2019. Now that is when this was packaged up. I received this watch probably a few weeks back now, and it's been sitting on the shelf waiting to go, but that is from Aquacy USA. We have another note here. What does this say? Instructions, warranty manual. Did not come back from the printer on time. They're going to mail those UPS 2 to 6 weeks. We'll see that. Aquacy logo, quality check tag. And then we've got some tools. We've got a little screwdriver. We've got extra pins and extra parts for the strap changing tool. We also have in here the Aquacy silicone straps that came with it. Now these are actually pretty decent. They don't feel waxy. Nice and supple. They've got the Aquacy logo imprinted or embedded right there. They also have the Aquacy logo on the clasp of that watch. Let's get this guy out though. This is what I ordered. Now, incidentally, they had a whole bunch of different color combinations. Because I had the blue prototype, which is what I typically would have gone with from their Kickstarter campaign. Because I had that already, I opted to go with the black mother of pearl on this one, which caused a little bit of a delay just because the mother of pearl dials had a little bit delay in manufacturing. But guys, I'm definitely, based on the look of this so far, I'm happy that I waited for it. Guys, I'm going to get the plastic and shipping material off of this. We're going to take a zoom in and take a closer look around this Aquacy diver. So now that we've got all of the plastic and shipping off of it, we can actually get a good view of this production model of the Aquacy 1769 series diver that I've received from their Kickstarter campaign. Now, first thing you'll notice is that black mother of pearl dial, and I opted to go with that over the blue one, which I normally would have selected because, again, I received the blue version as a prototype to review initially. Towards the end of when we're taking a look at this, I'll do a quick comparison against the prototype as well as this production model so we can see the things they changed to see exactly what improvements took place between the prototype and the production models of these Aquacy divers. Now, if you guys did not see that prototype review, this is made out of 316L stainless steel with a case size or case diameter of 41 millimeters, so it's that good size case, and one of the reasons why it gets so much wear from me is because of that size. The case thickness on this watch is very nice, also at 11.65 millimeters thick, and on the side there you see a good shot of that helium release valve. If we flip this guy over, you can see the Aquacy logo right there in the case back. It does not have an open case back, but this is an automatic watch. This watch actually came in 2 flavors. You could get this watch with the ETA, was it the 2923 or 2823 automatic movement, or the Miyota 9015 automatic movement. Now, I actually opted for the Miyota 9015 automatic movement in this guy just to save myself a little bit of money because I had a bunch coming in all right around the same time. Now, that crystal you can see is extremely clear because I haven't had the chance to get my fingerprints on it yet, but that is sapphire glass, about 2.5 millimeters thick on that sapphire glass with AR coating. Of course, we have 120 click rotating unidirectional rotating bezel on this dive watch, as well as a screw down crown. Now, the loom on this guy, if I remember from the prototype, was pretty sharp. They're using that BWG9 super loom. So towards the end, I will get some low light charged loom shots of this watch for you guys to take a look at. If we want to set this guy aside and actually take a look at the prototype right next to it in comparison, we can take a look at actually what they have changed on it a little bit. Now, if I get it in here, the blue dial is the prototype, and that black MOP dial is the production watch that I received. Couple things from a fit and function. Easiest thing to identify first is in the prototype model, they actually use a pressed clasp. You can see right here they use the press clasp And they received a little bit of negative feedback from the initial reviewers on this press clasp because it does feel a little bit cheap, a little bit flimsy, but it does have the Aquacy logo right in there. They took the feedback from the reviewers and actually opted to include this milled clasp, which feels a lot heavier duty. Yes, I still have the plastic on that. I haven't taken the plastic off that yet. But it has the Aquacy logo right there in it as well, both of which have micro adjustments right there in that clasp to add a little bit of comfort when you're trying to size this guy. Case size, case, everything about the case is the exact same on both the production and the prototype version. One thing I will point out that they did improve is on my prototype model, it's extremely hard to turn this unidirectional rotating bezel. That is something that they received some feedback on the initial reviews of the prototypes, is that it's really, really hard. I mean, I've got to put a lot of pressure into that bezel in order to get that bezel to actually rotate. They did improve that on the production model. The other thing that I will point out on the prototype versus the production model that I tested before I took a look at it with you guys is on the actual prototype model. And I don't know, guys, in full disclosure, I don't know if this was a prototype issue or if it was this specific watch issue, but it is really hard to change the date with this screw down crown on this one, because what ends up happening is you go to that first click that you normally would to change the date, and the tolerances are off just a little bit, that you don't actually change the date on this. What ends up happening is you just end up screwing the crown back down. But I did notice that they fixed that on this production model, so I'm super, super stoked about that. Those were really the bezel difficulty and that screw down crown and changing the date were really the two biggest complaints that I had about this prototype model. The clasp, in all honesty, really, really didn't bother me. I know it bothered some folks. Didn't bother me that much at all, but I do appreciate that they took the feedback from their reviewers and made the changes to their actual production watches to make their backers happy. But guys, we're going to take just a second here and jump over to the actual Kickstarter campaign to see what we paid for this guy. All right, guys, so you can see we are actually logged into my Kickstarter account here. This is the actual campaign for this Aquacy 300mm limited edition diver, and you can see ETA 2824-2 movement or the Miyota 9015 movement were both the automatic movements that were available in this campaign. This campaign actually generated interest from 172 backers, which pledged approximately $60,000, just a little shy of $60,000 to bring this watch to production. Now you can see my pledge right here, $279. I was a super early bird. I was able to jump on this one pretty quickly right out of the gate because I knew it was coming. And you can see also from here that I opted for the Miyota 9015 automatic movement in my watch. You can see incidentally here the estimated delivery date of January 2019. Now along the way there was a slight delay in manufacturing, specifically as it related to the MOP dials. The MOP dials took a little bit longer to produce than they had expected. So I actually received this watch. I'm sorry, let me back up. The backers that had just a typical coloring, didn't back the MOP dials, received their watches a few weeks before those MOP dial backers actually received theirs. I received this watch roughly mid to late February of 2019. So if we scroll down real quick, they got some really, really good shots. This is the blue mother of pearl dial, which if I didn't have that blue sunburst, I might have backed also, but with that blue sunburst dial, which is right here, the same one that I received the prototype of, I figured they were just too close in design, too close in coloring, that both of them would not get the wear time. You can also see right here, they opted to throw in that milled clasp based on user feedback of the prototypes. flying through real quick. This is a picture of that white mother of pearl, which if I didn't go with the black mother of pearl, I likely would have gone with the white, because that's got a really sharp and classic look to it, with that light colored mother of pearl. Abalone dial right there. I've personally never had a dial, one of these types of dials. I don't know. Sometimes I look at them and I absolutely love them. Other times I look at them and try to think about what I would actually wear them and how much wrist time they would actually get. And I really, for some reason, I just can't get into them. BWG9 lume on both the bezel and the minute, hour, and indices, as well as second hand on this watch. We'll get some close-up pictures in the end of this video of the lume shots on my watch itself. And then of course there's the black mother of pearl dial. Guys, they had 14 different colors that this watch is available in. One of the two that they added towards the end was this vintage orange to yellow sunray, and then the vintage blue to black sunray. I really think that vintage blue to black sunray is pretty sharp also. I almost snuck in with that one because it's more of a black watch with blue overtones, but you know, it is what it is. I'm happy with the one that I actually backed. And then of course, as we go down, we've got some reviews of the Aquacy, some pictures of the Aquacy in the field. Again, there's another prototype, the same color as the prototype that I have. We go through here, it talks about the ceramic rotating bezel, screw down crown, 300 meter water resistance on this dive watch. It's pretty decent. Jody over at Just One More Watch had a chance to take a look at one of these. As well, he did a great review. If you guys have not seen his review, definitely recommend go over and check that one out. And then wrapping up, you see this is the prototype review that we did on this channel right here. That's actually a picture of my wrist and the watch on my wrist. You can also see that on Instagram /watchaddiction.us, that you'll find that same picture as well. But guys, that was the Aquacy Divers Kickstarter campaign. They do have more of these available. I'll post up a link to their website in the description section below if you guys are interested in picking up one of these for yourself. Quite honestly, I haven't gone to take a look at their website to see exactly what they're selling for. According to Kickstarter, they're going to have a future retail price of $600. I haven't taken a look at their site yet to see if that's what they're actually going for. But again, I picked mine up for $279. With that MOP dial and with that Miyota 9015 automatic movement, and then the build quality behind this watch, the fit and finish of it, that $279 for this pledge was, in my estimation, a really good deal for this watch. So I'm glad that I backed it. All right, guys, so that was the Black Mother of Pearl dive watch that I received from Aquacy Watches. Guys, I'm really glad I backed this Kickstarter campaign at $279 with that Miyota 9015 automatic movement in it, the build quality of this watch, the improvements that they made to this watch based on the feedback from the prototypes. Really happy with this purchase, and it is definitely something that is going to get a lot of wrist time for me. Guys, if you want to see this watch, you can follow us at Instagram /watchaddiction.us, and you guys will see this in my Watch of the Day post. Anyway, guys, I am going to get out of here. Don't forget to follow us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and if you have any comments about this watch or anything else, definitely post them up in the comments section below. Would love to hear from you guys, hear what you think of this watch. Love to hear what you guys would like to see me review in the future. And as always, love your feedback. Thank you guys, and we will see you soon.